everyone, welcome. I feel like it's been ages since I've actually talked to you guys, so where to start? So I currently have a 3.5, almost 4-week-old baby. So obviously I've been a bit off the grid. I've still been posting lots of pics on Instagram, so if you love all that baby stuff, go check it out. All my details are below. But I thought I'd give you guys a bit of an update on how I'm doing, how Bub's doing, and just the general, I guess, birth process for me, because I haven't really given you guys a rundown on anything that happened. So I'll start with the birth. So basically, I have a 2.5, almost 3-year-old daughter named Blake. So her birth, she was actually frank breech. So she was a scheduled C-section. Now I came into this pregnancy hoping for a VBAC, which basically stands for vaginal birth after cesarean. I did quite a lot of research on it, and I personally found off the research that's out there that the best success of having a vaginal birth after cesarean was before 40 weeks. And if you went into spontaneous labor. So you can't actually do a lot of the induction methods for a vaginal birth after cesarean, simply because it can increase risk of the uterine, it can increase the risk of the scar rupturing. So that's not good. It's actually like really, really risky and deadly for mum and bub. So obviously I wanted to avoid that at all costs. So I couldn't really do inductions. It would have to be spontaneous labor. So anyway, scheduled a cesarean for 39 weeks and 6 days, hoping that bub would come earlier. So I tried all the old wives' tales. Yeah, you know, walking lots. I was kind of having red raspberry leaf tea, even though that's more for like a good labor. Eating primrose oil, all that jazz. Bub was just not coming. So I ended up, having a scheduled cesarean. So it was kind of good. I already knew what to expect. I was obviously a little worried about the recovery, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. This one was pretty similar to the last. I did have a different OBGYN this time because mine was on maternity leave, but he was really lovely, made me feel really comfortable. I always make sure I'm the booked in first cab off the rank. I don't want to have to be waiting around half the day. And I get hangry, so the whole fasting thing doesn't work so well for me. So mine was scheduled at 8 AM. There were some delays because the anaesthetist, I kept saying anesthesiologist, it was so embarrassing. Anaesthetist had to give an epidural. So I think I ended up going in at about 9, and I think baby was born at 9:30. So it was, yeah, very, very much the same as last time. This one was a little bit different because they no longer had a room to prep you, where, you know, they kind of talk to you first and they administer the epidural. I kind of just walked in to the room where the surgery was, and there was like 10 people turned around and looked at me. So that was a bit intimidating. But yeah, it all went really smoothly. I did do a couple of things differently this time. So one of the things I did was delayed cord clamping. So I've just read a lot about that and how it's really beneficial for bub. It makes sense. Obviously you want all that blood back into them. You don't want to just waste it. So yeah, that went really well. It was a bit awkward, like the OBGYN kind of like held her up, and I thought he was like passing her to me, but he was just kind of like holding her up while we waited the 10 seconds. I like reached for her and everyone was like, "Don't touch him," as in the surgeon. So yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, so delayed cord clamping, so bub was looking a really good color afterwards, and I also was able to do skin to skin straight away. So they heated up the delivery room for me so they could put her straight on me. It is a bit of an awkward angle for C-sections. They kind of like lie you backwards, so you kind of like got a baby like here, like trying to like hold it, and you know, it's awkward, but because I've done it before, I was less scared about dropping the thing. Yeah, but they heated up the room. It looked like everyone was sweating. I felt bad for everyone. I won't talk about the cesarean too much in general. I'm sure there's lots of videos where you can see that. I'm kind of just going to talk about the recovery process and what it's like with a toddler. and recovering from a C-section. And of course, updates on the new bub. So, I forgot to mention everything about it. So it took a few days to come up with a name. So her name is Hadley Wren. Sam had found this name months ago and was dead set on it. He even started telling Blake about it. So anytime we'd ask Blake what she wants to call the baby, he'd be like, Hadley. So they both got in my head a little bit. I wasn't convinced, but after a couple of days, after kind of hanging with Bub, I kind of felt like it was the right name for her. So little Hattie. So she was pretty big. All the scans said she was 75th percentile, but I knew they were wrong. So she was 4.2 kilos, which I think is 9.2 pounds. She wasn't as long as Blake. She was a little bit shorter. She was 52 centimeters. I think the head was like 37 centimeters. So big bubba. Now at 3 weeks, she's officially out of newborn clothes and into 3 zeros. They grew up so quick. So yeah, she's ended up being basically the same as Blake in terms of growth so far. Yeah, it's kind of hard to like decide where to take you guys. There's so many roads. I guess in terms of weight, I'll just continue on with that. So Bub had a midwife appointment come in at 2.5 weeks, and she'd gone back up to 4.4 kilos. So they were happy with that. I could tell she was getting bigger. I try not to stress too much about it. I know it can be an anxiety, quite an anxious thing for a lot of mums, but I kind of just knew she was pretty content. She wasn't crying, enough wet nappies, and I could kind of feel she was getting a bit bigger. So that was good. In terms of all the other tests for Bub, everything else was fine. She did look jaundiced. My babies always look jaundiced. Like every single person that would come in would be like, oh, she's jaundiced. And then they'd test her and she's fine. The only thing is, because I had hip dysplasia when I was a baby, is that it's genetic. So we do have to get an ultrasound at 6 weeks. It seems to be all well so far, but yeah, we'll see about that one. Yeah, in terms of my recovery, so first day of cesarean, I got out of surgery at about 10 a.m. They take you into a recovery room just to make sure that the anesthesia is wearing off. Bub latched really well, which is great. I had always planned on breastfeeding, but obviously fed is best, whatever works. But yeah, breastfeeding's going really well for us. Yeah, she latched on while we were in the recovery room, wheeled off to the room, and they told me I could eat, which I was very excited about. When I had Blake, I actually wasn't hungry. I think obviously because of all the strong pain medications. This time I was famished. So thank God, I think they gave me like crackers and cheese about 10 a.m. and I got to have a proper lunch as well. So anyone doing reading out there, I read you can't eat till that night. Don't worry about it. Ask them. Hopefully you can eat. That was honestly something I was dreading. The thing I really wanted to do this time was to make sure that I was up and out of bed straight like that day. So they were hectic busy at my hospital. I don't know, something was in the water. Every room was full. To give you an idea, last time I stayed there, there was probably like 3 other couples, not much. Yeah, so they were run off their feet. Thankfully at about 10 p.m. they were able to get me up. I was able to walk around. They couldn't take out my catheter yet, but I was able to have a shower, and they were able to take off the compression things. Oh my God. Okay, anyone that's had a C-section, anyone that's had any kind of like major surgery knows if you can't move your legs, they have these like leg warmers that they chuck on your legs that kind of contract just to get the blood flowing and up back to your heart, but they are so loud. I remember they kept them on because I wasn't up and walking the first night with Blake. They kept it on all night and I literally got no sleep. Even though they took the baby to the nursery for a bit, I could not sleep because of this bloody noise. So thank God that was off. So same thing this night. They did take Bub for a bit because baby's pretty sleepy anyway. They're not really feeding much. So thankfully I got, I think like a 4-hour chunk, which was awesome. Sam actually stayed as well, so he just slept on the floor because they didn't have any double rooms available yet. And yeah, that was pretty much the first day. Second day, up and moving, catheter out. not gonna lie, up and moving is rough, guys. But you just gotta do it. You gotta suck it up. I got a bit anxious about the best way to get up. I was really worried about hurting myself. So don't feel afraid to ask the midwives. I would just kind of press the buzzer and be like, look, I need to get up. Can you just watch me to make sure I'm doing it the right way? Or can you remind me? So that was really helpful. Sam also stayed all during the day the second day, but we decided he would stay nights with Blake so he could have a decent night's sleep, and also so it wasn't too much of an adjustment for Blake because she'd only ever been like one night away from us in the past. Yeah, so second night was fine as well. Thankfully the midwives were able to help. I would just buzz them. I tried not getting up too much. Really use all the help you can get when you're recovering for a cesarean because you really don't want to overextend yourself and make it worse. So I ended up staying 4 nights in hospital. That seemed like a good amount to me. They recommended 5, but I felt ready to go. But I definitely didn't want to leave any earlier. I know a lot of people I read talk about leaving like after 48 hours. I knew Blake was fine. I knew I needed that time for me and Bub to bond and for me to recover because there's just no way. When you've got a toddler and they're asking to play with you and they're wanting all these things, it's a lot harder to rest. So 4 nights was perfect for me. Got home on the Sunday, had some visitors because we couldn't have visitors in hospital, COVID. Yeah, and we started to kind of adjust into our normal lives. So Sam had 3 weeks annual leave, which was great. So he was a huge help. So he would take Blake and the dogs out in the morning to the park and for a walk so they could burn off some energy. And I found that worked really well for us. So if you've got someone that can help you out, take the toddler for a walk, take your toddler to the park, it made a world of difference, honestly. I found that she, you know, would still want to play with me, but she'd want to do stuff like read books or do puzzles where I could easily sit there and feed Bub or rest while she did that, and also gave me an opportunity to get a nap in as well because you really do need to try and rest as much as possible when you're first recovering. So in terms of pain, my pain was pretty good. I think I was on Panadol from day 4, like only on Panadol, which I think is ibuprofen. Yeah, so it was pretty good. I mean, I would find that some days I'd push myself a bit too hard and need like another dose, but I was on nothing stronger than kind of like over-the-counter stuff from day 4, which is great. Definitely I've heard scheduled C-sections are a better recovery than emergency, but yeah, I definitely found that, you know, resting when I could made a big difference. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what can I do? Because like there's so much conflicting stuff out there. They say, you know, don't bend over, all this shit. Well, when can you start bending over? I found personally from kind of day 10, I felt comfortable doing stuff like bending down and emptying the dishwasher, and now at, you know, 3.5 weeks, it was probably even from 2.5 weeks, I was comfortable, you know, doing the washing and lifting boxes weren't too heavy. I did get clearance to drive at 2 weeks, so I felt comfortable lifting up the capsule and baby, which is about 15 kilos, which is what my doctor cleared. I think something that did help me was I was working out until 36 weeks of my pregnancy lifting weights. So I did find I had a pretty strong core and good kind of leg muscles and good lifting technique. So I definitely found that's helped me. Just make sure you're obviously lifting with your legs and not your back. I did actually see a physio when I was in hospital as well, and she basically said, even though it's early days, she's sure I'm not going to have any gap diastasis recti. Can't think of the right term for it, but I didn't have ab separation. I didn't have any ab separation with Blake either, and she's certain I won't this time, so that's great news. I'm still unclear personally when I can start working out. The physio said 12 weeks, which kind of crushes my soul to start lifting weights, but I'm going to see if I feel comfortable lifting weights under 15 kilos before then, so I can start doing kind of high rep sort of arm exercises, some body weight squats maybe, just kind of so I can feel like myself again. I miss feeling strong. I am currently walking when I can. this sounds ridiculous. It's magpie season and I don't want to go outside. They're everywhere and they swoop and they scare me and I hate them. So I walk on weekends outside with Sam and the puppies, and I think because we're like this big huddle of people and things, they don't go for us. But yeah, I knew if it was just me or Bub, or me, Bub and Blake, I don't want them sweeping us and hitting poor Blake or anything happening. So we've kind of been walking around shopping centres, or there is like a part of a park near me which I know doesn't have them. So yeah, not walking as much as I'd like, unfortunately, but definitely walking when I can to help with recovery. And housework's hard, guys. I'm trying to just keep up with the mess that my family creates, and I feel like that's pretty good exercise on its own. So one of the things I did do in preparation for birth was make freezer meals. So I'll link the recipe below for you guys. I'll link the video below for you guys. It was a lifesaver. So I didn't actually do this last time with Blake. I'm so glad I did it this time. Everything froze really well, reheat easily. I basically just bring the thing out of the freezer the night before. It's cold here at the moment, so I've kind of just been leaving it on the bench, and that defrosts enough for the following night. It's been amazing. So I've done some meals where they're cooked and not cooked. Both work out really well, just depends what you prefer. So I'm still making my way through those, and they are just such a big helper for those times when I can't be bothered cooking dinner, don't have time to cook dinner. So definitely recommend doing that. I also pre-made some lactation cookies, which I have been having since Hadley's birth. I don't know if I needed them. They're just delicious. They're gone already. We prepped quite a lot. Sam's been eating them. I've been having like 2 a day, which you don't really need. I didn't have any yesterday, so we'll see if it actually affects my supply. I might have to prep some again soon. What else? Okay, so I guess more about like the toddler baby dynamic. So thankfully Blake's been going really well with her. She's very gentle. She's not really wanting to play with her when I'm not holding her, which is good. That's one less thing to stress about, but I don't leave them together unsupervised for more than like a couple of seconds, because I know how things can get. She could go to give her a blanket, which is really sweet, and then it'll end badly. So that's still a bit anxious for me, leaving them alone. I'm sure we'll get used to that soon, but just kind of erring on the side of caution for now. Sam went back to work last week, and I have definitely found a shift in Blake since then. She has had a bit of a cold, but definitely noticed a lot of meltdowns. She's definitely struggling. So any advice I'd appreciate. I think it's just one of those things. I am really trying to give her my undivided attention when I can, and really still focus on making her feel like she's a priority. So actually like doing less TV time than towards the end of my pregnancy, because I was just shattered then. But yeah, thank God for TV, thank God for Bluey. I have been taking advantage of it, probably like an hour a day, whatever. Just for those times when I feel a bit overwhelmed, and I just need a break, to be honest. I did make sure to prep lots of new toys for Blake. So any gifts we got for Blake for Hadley's birth, some of my family did, that was really sweet. I kind of hid them away. I've been slowly bringing them out, so that, you know, those days when I really am struggling, I'm really tired, I just don't have the energy, I can go, look, here's a new coloring book, play with it for half an hour. So that's been a big help as well. And just kind of being strategic with my outings. I have been taking Blake and baby out. I've been covering baby. But yeah, we have been going out every day. I found that has made a difference. If we weren't doing that, we'd be going crazy. It would be so much worse. Just finding ways to get the energy out for Blake, and also do things that she likes. So I like to ask her what she wants to do today, and then try and accommodate to that as much as I can, so that she can still feel special and valued, and that she's still getting what she wants, even though there's times when she's not going to get what she wants. Sleep. So Hadley's been a pretty good sleeper. The first 2 weeks were really good for a newborn. You know, we'd kind of get 3-hour stretches throughout the night. It wasn't too much of a fuss. The past few days have been a different story. Her witching hour's been lasting from like 4 till midnight, which just, 4 p.m. till midnight, which is exhausting. I mean, it's not throughout the middle of the night, so I'm very thankful for that. Last night we were able to get her down at 10:30. So maybe that's a sign of things to come. I'm contemplating getting the Love to Dream swaddle, which she might feel a bit more comfortable. I don't think she's loving being swaddled, so we'll look into that. Yeah, feeding's going well. She doesn't really seem to have many gas issues, thankfully. She is spitting up a bit, but she, like Blake had quite a few gas issues. I actually cut out dairy for her. I'm still having dairy this time, but honestly, I feel like a big difference was I had good quality probiotics throughout my pregnancy. I'm still continuing to have them now. So I really think that kind of by building up my gut health while baby was in utero made a big difference. Don't quote me on that, but that's truly what I believe. Because yeah, just very, very few, you know, gas issues, anything. So, knock on wood. And so I definitely recommend doing some research on that, because that's made a big difference. I know you can buy probiotic drops for babies. You can put into bottles, so it's not too late. Oh, another lifesaver throughout this postpartum period is a haka. So those that do not have a haka, get one. So it's basically like a cup that you stick on one boob while you're feeding on the other, and it kind of just draws out with suction some milk. So I only get about 20-30 mils per feed, sometimes less, but I can basically do up a bag of milk in a day, most days. So I've already got a decent amount in the freezer, which is awesome. I just hated pumping all the parts. It would just you pull it apart and I have to wash them and clean. It's just a pain in the ass, and it does mess with your supply. So this is a really, really great option. So invest in a haka. I forgot. So this is something that I find really interesting. I know body shouldn't be that important. Obviously we're trying to, you know, look after a newborn baby, lack of sleep, focusing on feeding, and keeping up a good supply. But for me, I find the weight loss side of it really interesting. I kind of want to get back to feeling like my old self as soon as possible, and I just want to wear my old clothes. I don't want to go out and buy new clothes, and yeah. Anyway, so as a former bikini competitor, I have done quite a few competitions. I have been tracking macros on and off for years, so I have started tracking my macros again, just to kind of gauge where I'm at, what I'm currently eating, and seeing how that affects my weight loss, I guess. So I really don't want to do anything drastic. I don't even think I'll start dieting yet necessarily. I really just kind of want slow weight loss. Even a couple 100 grams a week sounds great. I don't want to compromise my supply, and I also know that if I eat too little, that's really going to affect my energy levels and my mood, which I just don't want to compromise at the moment. Anyway, so I gained 18 kilos in my pregnancy, and I've lost 10 so far. So I lost that all within the first couple of weeks, I think. Let me check. Commenting the journey on my Instagram. So if you are interested, like I said, my Instagram details are below. Go check it out. I'm kind of trying to do like pictures every couple of weeks. Yeah, at 1 week postpartum, I lost 8 kilos. So in the past kind of 2 and a bit weeks, I've lost another 2 kilos. Again, some of that would have been fluid. I do expect it to slow down, but I was eating a decent amount of crap and just too many calories. So now that I'm trying to reel it back to healthier foods, eating a little bit less, I should be able to kind of, again, start to facilitate that slow weight loss. Yeah, I mean, 8 kilos is still a decent amount to lose. I definitely did go a bit crazy during pregnancy, but that's okay. Whatever kept me sane. Yeah, so started to track macros. I'll be walking, and then hopefully starting some light weights after 6 weeks. I'm gonna see how I feel. But it'll be very, very light. I'll be taking it very gently, very slowly. I understand I'm rebuilding myself up all over again. So yeah, I really just got to remind myself to be patient during that process. So this is me currently 3 weeks and 2 days postpartum. So my boobs have definitely gotten bigger. You'll see I got a little line because I just had some high-waisted jeans on. Obviously I've got a lot of stretch marks. All these darker ones are new ones I got this pregnancy. Don't worry ladies, they do fade. If they don't, you're beautiful anyway. Doesn't matter. Yeah, gained some weight on my legs. Sorry about the mess in the background. So this is my belly relaxed. So it has gone down quite a lot. It is still really soft to touch. But yeah, pleasantly surprised with how it's gone down. I can kind of suck it in if I want. Who can be bothered? Yeah, but that's where it's at. So the human body's pretty freaking amazing to go from out here, it probably wasn't that big, out here to here in just over 3 weeks. So here's my little Hadley. Oh, she's woke up after a big nap. Hello, say hello to everyone. Hello, hello. She's getting so chunky already. Look at those little chubby cheeks. She's got these really big eyes. I don't know who she got them from. I think Sam. Mine are very big. I think she's gonna have blue eyes. Her hair's the same color as Blake's was, and Blake's, you've seen her in videos, her hair's kind of like my color now, like dark blonde. Poor Bubba's got milk pimples everywhere at the moment. Still having some peeling skin, but she's a pretty happy Bubba. We're very lucky. Hey. Okay, that's it guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. To all you first time mums, mums to be, mums with multiple kids, you got this. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.